Never a dull day when we're talking business. Let's talk to Mike Eppel here. Wow. All right. We were expecting inflation numbers. First up, good morning, Mike.
Good morning. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing all right. But let's get to these numbers, which came out late in our national show yesterday. No surprise, but also a massive surprise in some ways, just looking at that figure. So let's break this down.
Yeah, it's the unlucky sevens, as one analyst called it, 7.7% inflation rate, Melanie, with prices going up at the fastest pace that we've seen since the early 80s. And if you look back historically speaking, the rate of the acceleration in inflation, you have to actually go back to the 1970s for a faster swing upward in prices, back when there was an oil embargo. Wow, that sounds almost familiar, considering what we've been seeing this year in the energy market. And commodity prices in the 70s went through the roof. There were also all sorts of other monetary issues. I mean, New York City, for goodness sakes, was on the brink of bankruptcy back then. Nevertheless, it's a situation where, you know, when things get out of control from an inflation standpoint, people get used to the idea of prices going up. And then they say, okay, well, what do I need to offset that? Well, I need higher wages, for example. So wages go up, and then companies pass that further along to consumers going forward. So it's an upward spiral. So that's the dilemma right now that policymakers are faced with. And we all feel it. It's such a, you know, you talk about never a dull day. Well, money is, you know, kind of the, moves everything when it comes down to it. And this is going to be the big challenge here over the next little while for central banks, which really, let's face it, they kept interest rates too low for too long. And now they've got to do the pendulum. So there's some talk this morning about on July 13th, we're going to see the Bank of Canada raise interest rates. We know that already.
Right.
Will it be 75 basis points? Likely. JP Morgan Chase is saying this morning there's a possibility they could be going a full percentage point, which would be one of the largest.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, one of the largest in history on a single move.
Yeah. Let's talk about the price for oil right now. We're seeing this come down a little bit, so this should help short term a little bit of the prices for the pumps.
Yeah, it's actually, oil has cooled off by about 15% from its recent multi-year high. It's just above 104 per barrel this morning. It looks like we've gone from all sorts of worry about supply on one hand, now to the possibility that as interest rates go up, this could tip the economy into a recession. I don't know how they're going to avoid that. If you want to slow down or bring prices back down to a moderate level, you almost have to crater the economy at this point. That's the problem. But does that lead to demand destruction for gasoline? And we're starting to see a little bit of a break here. So it's still almost $2 a liter, still not cheap, but a little bit less expensive than where it was.
That's the slogan we go with these days. A little bit less expensive, right? Because nothing's cheap these days, just a little bit less. We were talking over break about milk, and I don't think they use that slogan anymore. Does a body good? Maybe that was from the 80s or 90s.
Probably.
But milk prices, not doing your wallet any good.
No, we already saw a price increase for milk earlier this year. The Canadian Dairy Commission, the federal regulatory body that oversees the dairy industry, which is operated on a supply management system. Well, the farmers basically said, look, our input costs are way up. Commodity prices have done what they've done. So there was an 8.5% price increase for milk back in February, and now another approved increase of 2.5% coming in September. It's interesting, though, Melanie, you go to the grocery store, and milk sometimes is one of these lost leaders. You see it, at like 50% down from its regular price just to get consumers in the store. So that's one of those strategic shopping things that you almost have to do nowadays to keep your budget in line.
Yeah. Do you still drink milk? I mean, I remember that was the big thing, right? As when we were kids.
Yeah, we go oat milk and soy milk.
Oh, you substituted.
Dairy
I see.
Milk and.
Okay.
Yeah, it kind of go. Depends on the day, kind of thing.
Lots of options out there for you. Okay,
There you
Mike. Have yourself a wonderful day. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.
Thank you.